So, continuing, looking at the model of the Tattva-s, we're speaking about the element of earth and how bandha and rooting down to the earth, connecting to the earth, is the foundation in Hatha Yoga practices and is also absolutely foundational in all aspects of yoga. Whatever heights we climb to, we have to root back down to the earth. The tree will only grow as high and reach as wide as its roots are deep and extensive. And this is the idea in yoga practice. We keep coming back to the center. We keep coming back to the roots. So we always want to make sure that our practice is grounded. We always want to make sure that the circuit of our being is earthed. So sometimes when people start studying yoga or when people start doing certain practices, they can encounter ideas of these otherworldly powers, or they can have these extraordinary experiences. The yoga philosophy or the yoga teachings prepare us for this. They remind us of the essentials of having to always take things back to the roots and help us guard against falling into the valley of false enlightenment and also short-circuiting our being. So always we come back to the roots. So let's just consider now these 5 elements and some of the qualities they have and how we might use these 5 elements, these 5 pañca mahābhūtāḥ, as lenses through which and with which we can explore and cultivate more yoga in the field of our own being. So you think of earth. Earth, if we say, okay, I am earth. I am solidity. I am groundedness. I have the capacity for fixity, stability, and steadiness. Is this true? I do have these capacities, but I could also be out of balance. I could be stuck, feeling very lethargic, feeling weighed down. This is one way that the earth could be out of balance. Or I feel ungrounded. Or I feel stable, secure, rooted, like I can grow. Earth's more in balance, if that makes sense. Let's consider water. Okay, so imagine, okay, feel your body. Yeah. I am also, as well as being earth, I'm also water. Yeah, it's true. I am fluidity. Blood is circulating. And what do I know about water? Water's famous for following the easiest path. It follows the path of least resistance. It moves downwards, but it can also be pumped. So in our body, we have these pumps. We are pulsating beings. Hatha Yoga, mentioned in the previous segment. Ha, contraction. Ta, release. All of life is pulsation. It's a breath cycle, it's a heartbeat. And water is connected to this because the water is pumped around us. There are many ways that we can affect the efficiency that water circulates. So Hatha Yoga works with these different pumps to help the system circulate energy and information more easily. Water is also known to be cooling. So if we use this as a kind of lens for inquiry, we could say, well, is energy and information circulating freely? Or am I getting stuck on certain ideas? Have some of my ways of looking become frozen and congealed, and it's stopping me flow with the changing reality of existence? Am I overheating? For example. So any of these we can use as a lens for inquiry. What about fire? Okay, thinking of myself as fire. Yes, I am brightness. I am heat, I am light, I am warming. I am a transformer and a messenger. And I can cook things. Are all these statements true? Right now, I can actually see the camera that I'm speaking into. How can I see that? Because there is a light. There's a fiery light of awareness that's allowing me to see. And so it's allowing me to experience. I can feel, yeah, I've got this, it's quite a cold day, relatively. I've got a thermal layer on and this thick outer layer on. But I can feel there is a kind of warm feeling inside. Okay, so I have heat, I have light. There is a certain brightness to life that I can experience. Now, fire also transforms. Fire can cook things. Fire in the Indian system is also known as the messenger, because the fire that heats allows things to rise and then be transformed. It allows messages to be carried on the air, which is the communicator, which we'll come to in a moment. So when I'm considering Agni or fire and yoga, we can think, yes, am I transforming, am I digesting my food efficiently? So at a very gross level, immediate level, is my fire working skillfully? They say in Ayurveda, the science of a long and healthy life, a sister school of yoga, a school of Indian how to call it? I was going to say, because it's more like Ayurveda is the system of Indian health, basically. The traditional system of health, and it has a lot in common with Sankhya and yoga. It uses this same model and works with it in a particular way. But in Ayurveda, one might ask, how am I digesting my food? Because they say in Ayurveda, it's not so important what you eat, it's what you digest. And they also say, anything and everything in existence can be poison. Anything and everything in existence can be medicine. It all depends on the situation, on the constitution, and the dose. I'll say that again. In the Indian system, in Ayurveda, and this is also common to yoga and allied schools, everything in the whole existence can be poison. Everything can be medicine. It all depends on the situation, the constitution, and the dose. So, when I am administering the medicine of my work with yoga practice techniques, I need to take care that I am making an honest appraisal of the situation as it is. Because what might be medicine one day might be poison another. What might be medicine for the person practicing on the mat next to me might be terrible poison for me. What could alleviate some built-up tension in one person's body, the same movement could create a terrible rupture in another person's body. So when we're using Hatha Yoga technologies, we need to respect them, recognizing these Hatha Yoga technologies are power tools. And power tools, we need to take care that we use them carefully, consciously, and appropriately. Element of air. What do we associate with air? So yeah, I am lightness, it's true. I can feel that heaviness of earth, I can feel a certain lightness, yes. Now in the Indian system, air is also associated with communication. To mention fire as the messenger, then air communicates, that the fire lifts it up and it can be communicated in the air. So how easily is energy and information circulating through me? Linking back to water, another aspect of it. How connected are the parts of myself? Can they connect as quick as the wind? Air is also, it's like it can move so freely. And air is a vehicle of prana. So I can look, is prana able to move fluidly, uninterruptedly into my body through the agency of the breath, for example? Then space, the great container, the enabler. Do I feel spacious in my life? Do I maintain an attitude that leaves me open to the great possibilities of life? For example, so I hope, having just touched on these 5 elements, related them to intrinsic aspects of our experience, we can start to see I can work with each and every one of these anytime I'm working with any type of yoga technique, especially when I'm doing asana. Can I root down? Can I feel a sense of groundedness? Can I connect to that tremendous strength of the element of the earth beneath me and invite it to flow through me? So when I activate bandha, element of earth, then element of water, energy can flow and circulate more easily. When energy flows and circulates more easily, then warmth is able to spread through the system that much more easily. For example, when one does some simple spinal movements, when the spine, the central channel, starts to flow, then the whole field gets irrigated and the whole field gets warm. So, earth, I root down, I feel the energy then flowing through the body, I feel it kindling an internal warmth. And as I feel that warmth, perhaps I notice that I feel greater connectivity between the different parts of myself. And I feel space opening up more evenly in the front, back, both sides of the body. So in Yogasana, the elements, obviously perhaps, absolutely essential. But it's really helpful to bear this in mind and not to privilege one over the other. We have to bring them all into balance. Just these 5, just bringing these 5 into balance is already quite a task, quite an achievement. But if we practice that, what happens? We've mentioned already, yoga is very practical and it recognizes that what we practice we get good at. Everything is training. So if I'm doing my yogasana practice, I consciously pay attention to how, by the way I hold my body, by the way I engage with the earth, by the way I use my sense powers to help me occupy space in a more balanced way, and by paying attention to how I invite groundedness, fluidity, even internal sustainable warmth, communication and lightness of connectivity between the different parts, and a sense of spaciousness. When I do that, I'm training myself very powerfully in the ways of integration, in the ways of yoga. Why is it so powerful? Because when I consciously do that, I start to attune to my innate capacity for yoga. And why is that so powerful? Because then, when I'm doing it consciously, my mind starts to have the experience of my having a capacity for balance and integration that is perhaps greater than my mind had previously realized. And so this is an intrinsic foundational aspect of yoga practice. We embody yoga as best we can. Whatever type of technique we're doing, not just physical practices or so-called physical practices. I'll say again, I'm not a fan of that word, because if it's a physical yoga practice, it's also going to invite the mind, the senses, the emotions into the present moment. But if it's, let's say, a body-based practice or a practice which involves movement and posture and all the rest of it, in that state, when the mind witnesses the system in greater cohesion, that witnessing, that experiencing, that embodiment gives it the lived experience that then, if it's repeated a few times in quick succession, has the power to make obsolete some of the mind's previously perhaps tightly held limiting ideas about the nature of ourselves. I said quite a lot of words quite quickly there, so I hope that makes sense. But just to reiterate the point, in case that was just too wordy. Sometimes in life we have the idea that I'm this or I'm that, and I can't do this or I'm only this. One of the foundational aspects of yoga practice is to reach beyond our habitual ideas. I say often the foundational practice in yoga, or one of them, is to look in ways that reach beyond our habitual ways of looking. To think in ways that reach beyond what we might previously even have dared dream or imagine. So when, for example, we are doing an asana practice, and we're inviting earth, water, fire, air and space to cohere in our physical, lived, embodied reality in such a way that we promote greater easefulness, harmony in our system, we feel more grounded. We feel energy circulating fluidly more easily. We feel a lovely, rich warmth that doesn't overheat, that sustains through the day. We feel connectivity. We feel ourselves moving more easily, more efficiently, and feeling more spacious in our movements. Then the system starts to have a powerful lived experience that proves, even to the skeptical, doubting mind, I do have a capacity for greater easefulness, greater integration, greater balance, greater harmony than I might previously have thought, believed, or imagined. So yoga is always about going beyond our beliefs, reaching beyond what we already know, venturing into the unknown, so we give ourselves the chance to have an experience which renders obsolete our previously held limiting ideas and invites us into a fuller recognition of the wholeness that we really are.